What's up, Roulette Pools? Brent with AOB, I should say Craps Pools. We're going to get started right away, and I'm going to explain this as we go here. So let's get a bet in. After the beginners roulette video that we did here on AOB University, I had a lot of people DM me and going, okay, great. Now, can you give us some strategies and show us how those strategies so we can actually go play this? So that's what we're going to do today. I'm going to show you 3 strategies. These are my favorites. This one is called the Iron Cross. That's our very first one. Okay. The Iron Cross. And I normally always start with this strategy when I go to a table. And what I normally do is I go in big, build up some really quick bankroll if I'm lucky. And then I use that in the following 2 strategies that you'll see. I use that bankroll in the strategies. So I'm playing with house money. And if you get lucky, which you should be able to do most of the time, especially if you know your bankroll is, and you set your bets according to bankroll. So you give yourself at least a couple progressions on this. Then you should be okay. All right, let's talk about this strategy. Strategy is called the Iron Cross. What I love about it, you win on every single number except 7. Okay, you win on every single number. I love that. That means every time a shooter tosses the dice, we're winning unless it hits a 7. Okay, so watch me just jinx myself, which I just did. We hit a 7. That's okay. I want you to see our recovery. We're down 5. For me, recovery is a double-double. So the downside, what I don't love about this is 7 units to make 1 unit. In terms of payouts, this is very similar. If you're more familiar with roulette, this is very similar to Romanovsky that covers 32 numbers and it pays out 8 units to pay out 1 unit. This is 7 units to pay out 1 unit. So it's pretty close to that. All right, we just hit that. We're going to hit this twice. Here we go. So what are we doing here? We've got, for all intents and purposes, let's go back to 1 unit. In this case, our units are now 4. This is the field. It covers 2, 3, 4, 9, 10, 11, and 12. Okay, with 2 and 12 paying double in this instance. There are some tables where 2, 12, or both will pay triple. The Palms in Las Vegas, they pay triple on 12. Okay, talk about a nice hit. So we're going to pull all these back. We won our 2 bets back to back here. We're going to pull our bets. We want to get back down. Progressions are life. Remember, especially here when you're doing 7 units to only pay 1 unit. So get your bets back down. Do not get greedy. That's why I like going in and placing some bigger bets for just 2 to 3 tosses, and I'm done and I move on. I would rather do some big bets, but this isn't a bad strategy if you play it online and you can go say there's 50-cent bet minimums here. You can find 10-cent bet minimums. You can do that and have plenty of progressions. This is a great strategy. I absolutely love it. Again, it's my favorite. The second thing I really love about it, it's super simple. 1 unit on the field, 2 units on 5, 6, and 8. Now, for all intents and purposes, every time you hit a number other than 7 and you win, you're winning 1 unit. In this case, 1 unit is $1. Up here, you're winning a little bit more because these come with odds. But for the sake of simplicity, we're just going to say that all of these are like placing outside bets. Now, why do we have 2 units up here and only 1 unit down here? Because this field, like I said, every single toss, it's a win or lose. So when we hit a 5, 6, or 8, we lose this bet down here. So these have to be double because we have to subtract $1. However, 5, 6, and 8, the only time those lose is if we hit a 7 and we'll lose everything. Therefore, when we win on the field, we only need 1 unit there because we're not having to subtract these units up here. All right, let's go. And the average number of tosses before 7 comes out is somewhere around 6.1, 6.4, somewhere around there. So just keep that in mind. That's another reason why I don't like staying on this for too long. Either that or, like I said, have enough of a bankroll that you can go through. I've had, you saw it earlier. I mean, you can have 3 7s, 4 7s in a row. It's pretty common. Okay. So you need to be able to recover for that. And these bets get up high. Oh, so for a 2 or 2, so we could get double. But we're doing well so far. We're just making 1 unit every single toss. All right, we've been going for about 5 minutes now. We're going to go just a little bit more here, and I'm going to get into the next. Now, I'm going to explain these next strategies. Arnold and the 4 mules for Sister Sarah, those need to have, the point cannot be established. There's a 12 that pays double. Boom. And trust me, there's nothing sweeter than when you have a pretty big bet on the field here when you're playing this and it hits a 2 or a 12. I mean, that's like hitting one of your jackpot numbers in roulette, right? You're like, yes. Anyway, so we need to wait. So you can do 2 things. The nice thing about the Iron Cross is you can come in and play this strategy right here at any point in the game. If the point's established, you can play it. If the point isn't established, you can play it. So you don't have to wait for any type of circumstances around the point being established for you to play this. So that's why I normally like doing it. But once I get up here, we'll play it one more time and see if I get the last spin curse. Once I get up here, I'm going to pull my bets because I don't want to keep them out here because I'm going to lose 7 units and I don't want to go down that rabbit hole. But the point is still up, right? It's up here on 4. So I can't play these other strategies until they hit this point or they craps out with a 7. So what I'll do is, right here, we just won on 6. So what I like to do is if I'm waiting and I don't want to play the Iron Cross anymore because I'm a lot of exposure out there, 7 units, I'm going to martingale the field. All I'm going to do, I'm going to put it as low of a bet as I can. I'm going to martingale the field. Remember, we only win on these numbers right here, 2, 3, 4, 9, 10, 11, 12. We lose on the 7, the 5, the 6, and the 8. All right, there's a 10. We're going to keep playing it. I don't like sitting and waiting. If you guys watch any of my roulette videos, you'll know some people like playing a strategy where they either wait for certain conditions as a trigger, then they play, or when they lose, they wait for a spin to make sure they wouldn't lose on that same bet again, and then they go in. I don't like waiting. I want to be able to keep playing. So this enables me, once I get up, this enables me to keep playing with relatively low risk. So there's a 6. We lose on a 6, right? 5, 6, 8, 7. We're going to lose because that's not covered on these numbers. And they list the numbers on the field, right? They list all these numbers. So again, this is a one-off bet. You either win it or lose it on every single toss. We're waiting for the shooter to either hit the point or to crap out so that we can get in and start the next strategy. And we'll see if we have time to do both of them. If not, I'll do another video on just one of those. All right. I forgot the martingale, so we're down 2, which is good on this case. So I'm going to go 1 martingale. I'm going to go ahead and follow the martingale sequence. We would normally be at 4. It just means if we win, we're winning 2 units instead of 1 unit at this point, because we're only down 2 units off it. So let's see if we can get the shooter can hit us with one of those numbers in the field and not a 5, 6, 8, or 7. We don't want those 4 numbers. All right, we got a 10. Boom, that's a win. And because the point is on a 4, the 4 and the 10, the further you go on the out of center from here, the further you go, the lower the probability of that number hitting because it has less combinations on the dice. So the 4 and the 10 outside, those are outside of the 2, 3, 11, and 12. Those are very, very hard numbers to hit. All right, that paid double right here. We just got paid double on that bet. So I'm hoping that he'll hit a 7. And what I might do to save time here is I might just pause the video and come back when after the shooter hits a 4 or the shooter craps out with a 7. So we're not just continuing to do this because I really do want to show you the Arnold. I really do want to show you 4 mules for Sister Sarah. You're wondering what the heck 4 mules for Sister Sarah? It's a Clint Eastwood movie. It's a great movie. And the name of the movie is 2 mules for Sister Sarah. Well, you'll see why I call it 4 mules for Sister Sarah. All right, there's a 9. And why it's called the Arnold, I have no idea. I'm assuming some dude named the Arnold came up with that strategy. That's the best I can do for you there. So, all right, we're going to play one more. If we get lucky here, we've made $20. Been pretty smooth for us so far. Again, you would think just looking at the Iron Cross when you're covering the field and 5, 6, and 8, so you're covering every number except 7, you're thinking to yourself, this is easy money. I mean, I've got every number except 7 covered. Problem is, a 7 is a very highly probable number to hit. And because you have so many numbers, so many units out there with such a fairly low payout, recovery can be very, very dangerous. So just be very, very careful and play this. All right, I'm going to put you on pause. until they hit the point, and then we'll come back and start with the Arnold. All right, cheers. Okay, we just hit a 7, and I was sitting out, and it kept winning and winning and winning. And then I finally decided to go in because I'm like, I might as well keep playing $1 on the, it's doing great. And as soon as I go in and hit a 7. So that's okay. We have 1867. That's how much we're up. All right, the Arnold. We're going to start with 1 unit on the pass line. You can only do this once the point has been hit, or 7, and there's no point been established, and they're going to establish a point right now. All right. Once you establish the point, we're going to put 4 units on this right here, which is called the don't come bar, or they refer to it the DC bar. And we're going to put 4 units. That DC bar, that's basically playing the exact opposite of what you normally do, right? Normally, we don't want the 7. And normally, we want it to hit these numbers. This is the opposite. Whatever it just rolled, which in this case is a 6, it's going to place this bet on the 6. We lose if it hits a 6. We win if it hits a 7. So it's just the opposite of the rest of these. Once we get that placed, and you're actually hoping for a 4 or a 10 on that, so it's a lower probability number. 6 is a terrible number for it to be on. Once you do that, you got 4 units there. You're going to place 1 unit on the come bet. The come bet is just like this pass line bet. That's exactly what we wanted. We got 7, which we win there. The come bet, just like the pass line bet, wins on 7 and 11. So we won there, and we went up there. Boom. Bob's your uncle. And we're going to start all over. Okay, so on the pass line, on the opening toss, the pass line wins on a 7 and 11, and it loses on 2, 3, and 12. And in the event that it hits a 7, 11, or 2, 3, 12, the point doesn't get established. You either win or lose, and then you replace it. So we just lost it. Hit a 2, we just lost this bet. Nothing happens. You don't switch shooters. The shooter keeps going, but we lose, and we got to re-up it. Now, in this particular strategy, I just put back 1 unit. I don't do any kind of martingaling if we lose these. We're just going to power through this. Okay, so we're putting back 1 unit here, right? And this come bet is basically like the pass line after the point's been established. Think of it as establishing another point, and that's the point that you'll win on. Okay, and again, when you put the money on the come bet, you win on the 2, 3, and 12, and you lose, or excuse me, you lose on the 2, 3, and 12, and you win the 7, 11. So in essence, this come bet is exactly like playing the pass line, except you're going to have your own personal point, whereas everybody who puts money on the pass line is going to win on the 8 there. The DC bet, that's the exact opposite. Oh my gosh, we're not having good luck there. It loses on 7, 11, and it wins on 2, 3. We don't get to 12. So now what I do is when I win on this one, now it hit, so we lost on the 7, it lost everything. We have to start all over. Now, what I'm going to do is I leave my unit 1, but since we lost 4 units here, I'm actually going to add another 4 units. I'm going to martingale my bet if we lose on the DC bets. All right, the third 8 in a row that we got for this point. So, okay, so the point goes there, and that's a good point for most people. We don't care too much about the point number because we're trying to score 7 if we can get this. If we can get this point established and not hit that number, right? So we want this, we want a low number or very high. We're looking for 4 or 10. Those are the lowest probability between these numbers. We're hoping for that. 11, that's another loss on this DC bet. So 7 and 11 win on the pass line on the opening. So we're going to go up. I'm going to martingale it again. We're up to $16 on the DC bet. So that's the Achilles heel on this one is that, man, if you get whacked on this DC bet because it's carrying 4 units, it can be a long night for you here if you do that. And that's why you want to build up your profit up here before you go play this. All right, that's 6. That's where it put us last time. That's absolutely where we don't want to be because the 6 and 8 are highly probable. Those are your most probable numbers outside of 7. So it's a very... That's not a good one. So we want to happen what happens last time, which is we want a 7 because remember on the DC bet here, we win on 7. We win on the come bet on 7 because that's like the opening toss on the point. If it hits a 6, we lose this bet. So now, from now on, the rest of the strategy, boom, there we go. You won a 7 and we just hit a 7. That's optimal. That's exactly what we wanted to do. Now, craps players, the ones that just really stick to craps, they're a bunch of fragile flowers, okay? So if you're playing craps and you win on, we call it the dark side, where you win on a 7, you don't want to celebrate too much because you'll get a bunch of evil glares. Because like I said, they're fragile flowers. You don't say the number 7. You don't say don't come. You say, for some obvious reason, but so just be very careful. Instead of saying 7, cruising in craps, check out his channel. He does a lot more of the craps, and this is actually his wheelhouse. I'm much a roulette guy, but say call it the big red. Really, we need code names to call for a number. Oh, again, he whacks us when we're on the DC bet. That's not what we want. We lost everything. So now we got to hit the pass line, and we're going to have to double up with 8. So you really need to get through this phase right here because a 7 kills you on everything. At least if you get this placed, 7, you'll win on the DC bet and you'll win on your come bet because like the opening point, you win on 7 and 11 and lose on 2, 3, and 12. All right, so for those of you that want a good point, 6 and 8 are a great point number because remember, these folks that are on the pass line, they win on when it hits that point number. These lose on 7. They win if it hits this point, if you have this pass line bet. Here, we got to get through this. It's risky because 7 is a high probable number. So we have a lot of risk right now at the very beginning of this that it's going to hit a 7. All right, so it hits a 6. So that's not a great number for our DC bet. Now the one positive is it hit the point at the same time. So we win our pass line, our point. Our DC bet still gets placed up there and the point moves off. We don't do anything now. We put money on the pass line. We start all again, except after we get the point established, we're not going to put any money on this DC because we already have our DC bet established. You only have one DC bet up and that's it. And after that, we're going to be placing come bets until we either get a 7. That's it. We keep placing the come bets until we hit a 7. So now we got a bet on the come. So we have our pass line, the points established. It's on 4. We don't really care. And we have our DC bet, which is on the 6. We care about that one because it's $8 now. And the 6 is a high probable number. And we have our come bet, means whatever number they toss, our come bet will move up there. So this come bet now goes to 5. And we'll win that if it hits a 5. And we're just going to keep replacing the come bets. Now that we have our DC bet and our pass line bets up, we just keep playing the come bet. The best scenario is you hit the 7 right after you place this DC bet because you win there, you'll win on the come bet, and you won't lose on any other come bets that you have placed up on any other numbers. And I'll tell you, I'll get into that a little bit more. Okay, so watch this. Now we have come bet on 5. Now we have a come bet on 10. So if I win right now with the 7, we'll win this 8, we'll win this 1, but we're going to lose 1, 2, we're going to lose these 3. So you don't want to keep with this come bet hitting these numbers. You don't want to fill out this whole thing. Now, the next best thing that can happen though is if you don't hit a 7 right away, we just hit our 8 right there. He hit a 6. So we got to go up to $16 on this. All right, we're $16 and we're in dangerous territory because a 7 hasn't hit for a bit. And if we hit a 7, we lose everything here. We lose everything here. So we really we're hoping to get a 4 or a 10 or worst case 5 or a 9. And we hit a 6 again. Gosh, it's a terrible number for our DC bet, but that's all right. But we did win our come bet. That was right there. So now we got that place. We're going to throw a 1 here. The only saving grace is the average number of tosses from a shooter before 7 is somewhere like 6.1, 6.4 tosses. So if we look down here on the history, since that 7, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, there's been 7 tosses. So mathematically, we are due for a 7. All right, that's 11. We win on 11, right? Because remember, this come bet, it wins on 7 and 11, and it doesn't go anywhere, and it loses on 2, 3, and 12. So we made a buck. So if you don't get a 7, the best thing that'll happen is you hit your previous your previous come bets. That way, like let's say we hit a 10, we would win the come bet that's up there. We'd win that dollar, and we replace it with this. So we win $1 and you just replace it. There's a 10. That's exactly what I was talking about. So we win this come bet right here. It pulls off and it gets replaced with the come bet that we just had there. Boom. So it's kind of Game of Thrones-ish. I think that would be another, I think I would call this strat instead of the arm. Really fun, weird, boring. I think I'd call this Game of Thrones because you're literally just moving pieces in and out, taking over numbers. Okay, so that's a 5. That's another good one because we have a come bet on there. So we win the come bet, so we win another $1. And our come bet here is going to replace that one. That's the best case, the second best case scenario. Best case scenario right now is we really want a 7. Second best case scenario is we keep the shooter keeps hitting numbers that we already have either the point or we already have a come bet on. All right, let's go. 7, boom. That's exactly what we want. We won the 16 up here. We won the $1 here and we lost these 3, but that's okay because that's a total of 17 minus these 3. Boom, look at, we went up to that. All right, I'm not going to do that again. And I know this is a lot to digest. Now we're going to do 4 mules for Sister Sarah. It's sort of the same, but completely different. This one is a lot easier in terms of the ratios. You're only using one unit. Now, what you're doing on this is for every shooter, that's the person that's throwing the dice, for every shooter, you only get 4 bullets. All right. So after you place the pass line and the point gets established, put 1 unit on the come bet. You only get 4 units, 4 bullets. That's why it's 4 bullets for Sister Sarah. You only get 4. So the nice thing is take all your chips. On a craps table, you'll have 2 rows of grooves in front of you for your chips. Pull your bankroll into the grooves closest to you and put 4 units in front of you. And those are the only 4 units that you get to use for that shooter unless you win more during that shooter. So for example, if they roll a 4 right now, we would win $1 and this come bet will replace it. We now have 5 bullets. Okay. So you only get 4. So the nice thing about that is it's got a built-in loss limit right there. So perfect. This is what I'm talking about. We just hit the point. So we won $1 from the point. Our comeback goes to 8, which is a great number to have, right? Because the 6 and 8 are your next most likely numbers outside of 7. We have 5 bullets now. We have 5 bullets. Why is that important? Because let's say we hit a 2, 3, or 12 right now on this opening toss, we will lose this $1. We'd be down to 4 bullets. We need 4 bullets for the system to fully work. Oh my gosh, this is getting even better. The point just hit 8. We had a come bet up there. We are now up to 6 units. So we're going to replace our come bet here. So we have 3 units here. 3 units are out on the table right now. We would have 3 units in front of us still. And if we get through this come bet and I go to the 4th and final bet here, we'll still have 2 units sitting in front of us. So this is what's really nice. This is a nice long play strategy that you don't win a lot, you don't lose a lot, but you can sit here and play for quite a while normally. All right, once we got our point established, we have our 2 come bets, we're going to put 1 unit on the DC bet to finish it off. Now the order of this is always 1 unit on the pass line, 2 units, 2 come bet placements, and 1 DC bet. So if along the way there's a 7, we lose this right here. We just lost our come bet. Good thing we have 2 extra bullets in our belt, but we lost everything there. So that kind of sucked. That's why we wanted to place that DC bet. So unfortunately, you would lose all that up there. We would still have the 2 bullets. Let's play it one more time. We would have overall, we would be down 2 units because we made 2 units. We lost on that 7, 4 units. We'd be down 2, but we just made 1 back. This is a different shooter. So now with the new shooter, you get 4 units back in front of you, not 2. And we just won that one. We now have 5 total bullets because we just won on this with a 7 right there. So we have 5 bullets. So we have an extra bullet in front of us now. All right, we're going to start wrapping up. We're not going to get to Sister Sarah here. Or no, we're doing it. We're not going to get to play it with it as long as I wanted to. And I recognize this is a lot to digest. All right, 9. So our point gets established on 9. What's the next step? Place 1 unit on the come bet. Again, we have a total of 5 bullets now because we won on the pass line. So we have 2 units out. We have 5 bullets, means we still have 3 bullets in front of us. And again, the nice thing about that is if you lose all your bullets before the shooter's done, you can't play. You got to wait till the next shooter. So it's got a built-in slowdown. Look at this. The 9. It hits the point. We win on the point. We move the come bet to the 9. We now, just like last time, we have 6 bullets now. For this shooter, we have 6 bullets. So we're going to wait for the point to get established here. Once it gets established, we'll do our one more come bet because we already have a come bet up here. We'll place one more come bet unless we hit this come bet. And then we'll do 1 unit on the DC bet as our final bet. All right, there's a 10. So our point gets established on 10. All right, so we have our point, 1 come bet. Here is our second come bet that we need to place. Okay, here's our second. Now, it's a little bit of comfort knowing that on this, if we hit a 7 now, we at least win on this one. All right, we'll lose here, but at least we win this one. So we only lose 1. But because we have 6 bullets, all right, 9, we have 7 bullets because it hit one of our previous come bets. So our come bet slides up there. We now have 9 total bullets. We have 3 sitting out there. We have 9 bullets? Yeah, we have 9 bullets. Easier when you have the chips in front of you. I don't have the chips in front of me. So now we have several bullets, maybe seven bullets. And we won on this one and we lose on these 2. Okay, so we lost on those $2. We won on this one. We actually ended up, you can see our graph, we ended up just a little bit. Let's go through and play it one more time. Opening, as an opening toss, no point's been established. We're going to put 1 unit on the pass line. And again, on the opening toss on the pass line, we win on 7 and 11. We lose on 2, 3, and 12. All right. So there's a 6. The 6 is a great point number because remember, 6 and 8, and we win this pass line bet if it hits the 6. Only time we win. All right, we're going to put a unit. Now remember, we had some units, we had some surplus units from the previous time. Those are gone. We got a new shooter. Boom. We're going to bring in 4 bullets in front of us, put whatever we have back into our bankroll slot that's nearest you, and we can only play with what's in front of us. All right, that's terrible. We lose this bet right there because it loses on 2, 3, and 12. We're down to 3 bullets. Okay, so we're going to place our third bullet actually, because we lost our second bullet, but we still need the 2 come bets. That's the order. You only place the DC bet if you've already got your come bets out. Okay, so now we're down to 3 bullets. That's a great spot for this. The come bet goes to 8. Now we have 6 and 8 cover. We couldn't ask for anything better in terms of coverage right now. And we're putting our third and final bullet, because we're down to 3 bullets, back on here. We'll have our point on 6. We have our come bet on 8, and we're looking to establish this come bet now. All right, let's see what we can get. Ideally, we want an 11. 11 wins here, but doesn't lose. All right, we'll take a 9. So we got, look at this. We got 6, 8, and 9 all covered right now. Now that's our 3 bullets. At that point, pencils down, hands behind your back. That's it. You are now hoping for a couple things. You're hoping that it's going to keep hitting, right? This, and this. And if it hits one of these, we'll get our 4th bullet back. We'll be able to put a DC bet back up there. So we're hoping we get one of these. There it is. There's our 6 right here. We hit our point. These come bets stay. Okay. We just made a point. We have our original 4 units back, our 4 bullets. Okay. So the point goes off. We're starting all over again. These are up here. You can't take them down. These are contracts, same as the pass line. That's a contract bet. I mean, once you play it, you can't take it down until you either win on it or you lose on it. All right. All right. Well, not what we were looking for, but we won here and we lost on those 2 things. So overall, that's why this kind of just goes like this. You hope you get it on a good run, but overall, this is a really 4 bullets for Sister Sarah. That's a really great strategy to kind of be at the table, have fun, limit yourself, and knowing how much you can bet per shooter. And normally you can give yourself 4 bullets, 4 shooters with 4 bullets each. So you can go in with a total of 16 total units And if you wipe out all those 16 units, you walk, okay? And that way you automatically have your loss limit. All right, I know it's a lot of digest. I know it is. We'll cover this again. We'll play these another time. I'll see if I can find even better ways to explain it, because I'm probably not the best at explaining. This seems like a very complicated game, and in some respects it is, but actually once you kind of just understand it, it's really very, very quite simple and easy to play, especially with the 3 strategies that I just gave you out there today. All right, that's it. Be good humans. Us against the casino always. And remember, progressions are life, even on craps. I say that on roulette, but even on craps, any of the games you play, blackjack, progressions are life. So just make sure you're aware of where you're at in your progressions, what kind of bankroll you're bringing to the table, and play within your means. All right, that's it. I'll see you guys next time. Cheers.